So our first speaker, for those of you who are fans of sports, professional basketball, or world-class athletes, our first speaker needs no introduction. Roy Hibbert is a retired NBA superstar and college broadcaster with an incredible career and a list of accolades literally too long to list. In fact, when I told my 25-year-old brother that I was coming here and I'd be sharing a stage with Roy, this is what he literally said. "Oh, wow, me and my friends were talking about Roy Hibbert last night." And I was like, "Wait, why?" And he was like, "Because we're basketball fans and we talk about our favorite basketball players. That's what we do." So that's who Roy Hibbert is. He is a giant, literally and figuratively, in the world of basketball. And so even though, he needs no introduction, I think with a bio that's this bomb, it's totally worth restating. And so here's a little bit about Roy. He was born in Queens, but he really is a local son. He first garnered attention at Georgetown Preparatory School in North Bethesda, Maryland, where he was a dominant player and ended up being one of the top college prospects, where he ultimately decided to play at Georgetown University, again, right here in our backyard. He led the Hoyas, or helped lead the Hoyas in 2007 to a Final Four appearance. And the next year, he was selected 17th overall in the NBA draft, where he initially went to the Toronto Raptors, but was immediately traded to the Indiana Pacers, where he spent the majority of his career. Now, what was Roy known for? Roy was known for his defensive prowess, shot blocking abilities, try to get that ball next to the hoop, no way. And he helped the Pacers get to multiple Eastern Conference finals. He earned NBA honors 2 times during his career, and upon retirement, he transitioned to broadcasting. And he now serves as a college basketball analyst for CBS Sports and occasionally fills in on NBA TV. And he gets to share deep knowledge and passion with viewers. And in addition to that, Roy trains and mentors college and NBA players, both on the court and off the court. Now, with all these superstar accolades, here's the thing. At the end of the day, Roy is really just a man. And so he lives in Bethesda with his wife and his beautiful 4 kids. He just showed me pictures. They are super adorable, and they have really awesome names, all of them. And so what I want to do is I want to welcome Roy to the stage, and the thing that's really beautiful is this superstar is going to share his humanity with us.
Good evening. I want to take you back to January 2012. I was in my 4th NBA season with the Indiana Pacers. We had a day off in Memphis, but I couldn't leave my room. All-star selections were supposed to be released, and there was rumors that I was supposed to make the team. But my eyes were glued to my phone all day. Finally, my phone rang. It was my agent. I picked up, but my mouth was so dry, I couldn't even say hello. Luckily, she got right to the point. "Roy, you're going to be an all-star. You made the team." You remember that, DC? The emotion I felt was a mix of elation and disbelief. I felt as though all my hard work had finally paid off. It was a moment of joy knowing that I was standing toe-to-toe, shoulder-to-shoulder with the giants of the game and being acknowledged as one of the best. Being named to the All-Star game is the pinnacle of individual success in the NBA. It's an honor to be recognized alongside legends. I'm sure many of you can relate to being singled out as a top performer. It's an amazing feeling, right? But what happens when it doesn't? What happens when you're left wondering if you're really even meant to be there, feeling deep down that they chose the wrong person? How could you really be among the LeBron Jameses of your field? Even worse now, you're on people's radar. Now there's even more pressure to be great. Now that you've gotten the success, how could you possibly repeat it? It didn't take long for my mindset to shift from feelings of pride and excitement to concern and angst. But it's not often that you can remember exactly what you were thinking when you took a certain photo in a moment in time. But in this instance, when I think back to the moment when I put on that all-star jersey, heard my name announced, and walked out onto that stage, and I looked around and I saw Carmelo Anthony right here, Dwayne Wade right here, LeBron James, the king, and obviously Derrick Rose. Like, we got drafted the same year, but he already has an MVP under his belt. What I thought at that moment was, the coaches committee definitely got this wrong. I should not be up here. I better not airball a shot while I'm out there in the All-Star game. But when I reflect on those feelings of self-doubt, it's easy to see that how I was susceptible to it. Now we're gonna do something here. Raise your hand if you've ever walked into a room and for one reason or another, you felt like you didn't belong. All right, keep them up if that feeling made you question your own abilities. Look around. We're not alone. You can put them down now. Self-doubt can be crippling. Despite my achievements, I wasn't mentally prepared to handle the pressure of being an all-star. See, we don't often think about how we got to where we are. Most of us start on a certain path, starting in high school, then off to college, then off to the workforce. We follow this path without really thinking too much, You know why? Because we're young, we have ambition, and some of us, a select few of us, love that grind, love being in that mud, love working for something. It does something for us, it does something to us. But we do the work, then we move on to the next grade, the next project, or the next company, while taking those life lessons and skills with us. Then poof, in a blink of an eye, we're here. But many of us will confront our first major life decision at different times, and it'll spark a moment of much needed introspection. This reflection helps us to understand how we arrived at our current situation. And for me, taking that photo, being up there with those greats, those other all-stars, that was that moment for me. I felt that it revealed that I hadn't fully grasped my full potential. You know why? Because I never allowed myself to dig deeper into my own psyche, to better understand how I am the way I am, why I am the way I am, and what enabled me to have so much success in my adolescence and childhood. But better yet, most importantly, how to overcome those negative voices up here. Sure, we've all experienced some level of emotional instability in our lives. We've experienced disappointment, defeat, on one time or another. But how many of us actually sat with those uncomfortable feelings so we could truly understand how we got to that negative outcome? For me, the idea of mental health, or even the idea of addressing mental health, better yet, even talking about it out loud, was never on my radar. Unfortunately, I believe that when someone experiences repeated feelings of depression, disappointment, that person is forced to deal with the issue. Looking back, and I know hindsight is 20/20, I feel like we could be living healthier and happier lives if we learn to prioritize mental health and comfortably talk about what it means for each of us at each stage of our lives. But I consider myself pretty lucky. I was born with the physical gift of some height. I was given certain opportunities because of that height to develop into a great basketball player. I always say you mix in a little bit of good work ethic, and then you mix in a little bit of luck, and that's me right there. But I put the work in year and year out. I kept my head down, and I just strived to be a dominant player as best as I could be. But it wasn't until 4 years into my professional career that I experienced my first biggest challenge with mental health. And the irony is that the struggle came about from the experience of an ultimate high in my career, all-star selections. I had major imposter syndrome. I questioned whether I belonged on that stage, in that locker room, and on that court with the most elite talent in the entire league. The pressure was debilitating. I couldn't get out of my own head. The self-doubt was crippling me, and I needed to find a way out. I was determined to regain control of my psyche and find a way to get back to loving the game that I loved. I tried everything. I worked harder than before. I put extra time in the gym before and after practice. Didn't cut any corners, didn't skip any reps. I even went to bed at 8 p.m. on that Tom Brady TB12 method. My wife was like, Roy, can we please watch another episode of The Good Wife? And I'm just, I'm like, no, I gotta go to bed, babe. Practice is at 12 o'clock. But at this point, but you know what? After that year, the results were not good. I had the worst statistical career ever. So at that point, I knew it was time. It was time to seek help from a professional. I found a great sports psychologist. He actually works with Olympic athletes who train all year round for one race that lasts probably 10 to 20 seconds. And after just one session, I realized as much as I worked on the physical aspect of the game, it was obvious that I never worked on the mental side. So I started to learn that it's just important to train your mind as it is your body. Every profession requires this same type of commitment to mental health. Fighter pilots, for example, sit in a room, eyes closed, visualizing the process of flight. From hours before takeoff to hours after landing, it's about putting yourself in the right headspace and repeating the motions, your mental process, every single step from beginning to end. Preparation, I learned, involves more than just watching game film, putting up tons of shots, and running through drills. It's about routine. It's about seeing every possible aspect of a couple scenarios and working through the strategies and solutions for each of them. It's about the attention to detail from a deeper perspective. For me, I always got the first play of the game. It's important to start the game off strong. The team needed me to set the tone early, and they wanted some of that physical, patented Roy Hibbert low post presence down there. So on the bus ride from the hotel to the arena, that's when my game day routine started. I'm journaling, I'm writing down the strengths and weaknesses of the opponents that I'm playing against, everyone from top to bottom. And during the national anthem, that's when I take that moment to close my eyes, concentrate on my breath, all the while running through that first play. It's gonna be a low cross screen to a post-up. I know some of you guys may not know what that is, but I'm basically getting the ball, and I have to do something with it. Everybody knows it's coming. So I run through a list of ways that I could win this matchup, starting with making eye contact with my teammate to make sure we're on the same page. Those are the details I'm talking about. And then at the same time, finishing up with what move and which hand I'm gonna shoot it with. After I mastered my own routine, I noticed that I was more positive and more relaxed going into every game. When you prepare the right way, training your mind and pushing yourself even to the point of discomfort during your preparation process, you put yourself in a more confident mindset for performance. Sure, I'd still have bad games as I was developing this new muscle, but bad games affected me differently. I could lick my wounds quicker and move on to the next possession with a clearer mind. I closed the gap of inconsistent play because I was eager to put the work in required to bounce back. I now had the toolkit and the proof of success to come back even better the next game. One season later, in 2014, I made the All-Star team again. This time, I didn't have those same self-doubt and insecurities. This time, I could tell you that I was thinking that I knew I deserved to be an All-Star. I applied my mental preparation process and showed up with confidence and determination. After that second All-Star appearance, I felt a deeper sense of accomplishment. They could say it's a fluke if you did it once. If you do it twice, they can't take that away from me. That was just my mindset. But I realized that a strong mental game, solid preparation routine, and positive self-talk was my formula for success. Working on my mental health made me a better teammate and a leader, both on and off the court. This approach to mental health is something I will carry with me far beyond the basketball court. I guess I previously thought about mental health as a weakness, or I just didn't pay attention to it. I could only imagine how much easier things could have been for me if I had addressed this sooner. So I challenge each of you, next time you face self-doubt, don't shy away from it, embrace it. Use it as fuel to dig deeper into your own psyche and unlock your full potential. Thank you so much for having me.